a beautiful day right here, and it's so good to have all of you join us on issues. And this is another time again for us to talk about a worrisome situation from what is happening in Iran at the moment. It's Iran and Israel. Some people will tell you it's US, Iran, Israel strike or war, as the case may be, or maybe problem or conflict. A lot of people have different perspective to this situation. Today we'll be looking at the implications around the globe, narrowing it down to Nigeria as a matter of fact. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. So many thanks everyone for joining us this evening on Issues. Show you live on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276, and you can also follow us on all our social media platforms now showing on your screen at Global TV NG. Yes, have you thought about the fight or the war or conflict, as the case may be, depending on what you want to call it? Because a lot of people, the US will tell you, well, what we are trying to do is for the benefit of the world because of nuclear weapons. And they will also tell you, well, the leadership in Ukraine is not favorable to the people of Ukraine, and we would want to come in to make sure the people of Ukraine have what they want. But as it is right now, there are developing stories since the strike. Is it the retaliation from Iran, as a matter of fact, that actually claimed lives? Then you also want to talk about the replacement of the political leader that was taken out. Some persons are saying, well, the sun is good for us. And some other persons are saying we need a new leader. But then, what is the United States of America saying? We would also want to look at it from the both sides of the coin. The powers that be, how these powers play out. Before now, it was Venezuela, if you could remember, and now it is Iran. Which country is next? Remember, December there was a strike in Nigeria by the US Army because of the issue of Nigeria being seen as a country of particular concern. Then some persons were like, all right, yes, there are security situations, terrorist attacks here and there, Christian genocide, as is being claimed by some persons. Some persons will tell you, well, if you want to talk about genocide, it's not just the Christians alone, but everyone have been victim of the situation in Nigeria. But now we are looking at Iran. Something happened today when I hit the road on my way to the office. Well, we'll talk about all of that. Myself and my colleagues were talking about it, and we're saying some persons will really be stranded today. Then you begin to ask questions. Is it the ripple effect of what is happening in Iran right now that is affecting Nigerians? Well, that's one aspect of it. I have my guests joining me on the conversation today. We are going to be joined by a legal practitioner, because there are international laws. There are what is being stipulated. Some persons have said, well, this is not in tandem with what the international laws stated. And some persons are saying, well, there is a limit, all right, to whatever any country can do to another country, especially if that country is a sovereign state. All right, we'll look at all these issues today, looking at it from the global perspective, coming down to Nigeria, how it affects the average man in the city. Let's talk about people in FCT, Port Harcourt, Lagos, Abuja, Katsina, everywhere. Then we also want to talk about the people in the hinterland who are even more important, as some persons will say it, than every other person, because these are the average Nigerians that needs to be catered for. But then, how does these things go down to affect them? What about the people with disability? Do you know what these people go through in times like this? When things like this happen, there are some areas that we need to look at, because there are some persons that needs attention than other people, as a matter of fact, and that's what the society is all about. All right. I will be introducing my guest in the studio right now, and of course, our other guest will be joining us very soon. Of course, I have in the studio right here Ade Ona right here. He's a public affairs analyst, and he is also the CEO of Ona Ade Disability Center. It's good to have you join us on the program this very beautiful evening.
It's a pleasure joining up with you once more, Ramsey.
Yes, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, let's talk about this situation. The fight between Israel and Iran has been there for a very long time. Do you?
Yes, when you say the fight between Israel and Iran, and forgetting to add US, I would begin to say that no, this is not a two-way fight. In fact, it has expanded. It's not a three-way fight. Remember, Iran is shooting at Bahrain, it's shooting at Qatar, it's shooting at UAE, it's shooting at Saudi Arabia. So, to my mind, this is a Middle East war plus America. Now, let me tell you something, Ramsey, about Iran that you may know. The present Iran, as it is the Persian kingdom, the Persian empire. You know, they have been there for a very long time, dominating the world, taking action, as you can say. This is not the first time Iran is taking the attention of the world. In 1973, we have the Iranian-Israeli war, which was started because Iran thought that after the 7-day war of Israel, thought that they are the most powerful person that can take on Israel. And they took on that war in 1973. Well, it didn't last. They had to succumb to the power of Israel with the assistance of the European and, of course, USA. Then we have another one in 1983. Again, it was Iran versus all the other Arabian countries against Israel. Then fast forward to now. We were talking about the issue of uranium enhancement, nuclear empowerment, the reasons that US gave to attack Iran. But there's another thing. Israel, like you rightly mentioned, Israel is looking at Iran as the most powerful country that is opposed to her existence in the Middle East. Remember, Syria has been taken out. Syria was one of those countries that Israel looked at as a very powerful country that when they go into war with the whole of Arab, Syria will be a force to be reckoned with. You know what happened to Syria. Now, you know what is happening in Gaza. It is a war that has been brewing for a very long time. The Israeli USA-Iran war is a war that has been brewing for a very long time. Remember Obama and then the President Biden tried to settle this issue. They were in negotiation with Iran. But now we have another person at the helm of affair of US. And Donald Trump is somebody that wants to show strength. Like you said, he went to Venezuela, was able to capture the president of a whole country and his wife. Took the president to his country and locked him up. And the world didn't ask him. There was barely any whimper of opposition. I don't want to talk about the United Nations and the actions.
Oh, all right. I think we'll come to that.
All right.
We'll actually come to that. All right. We'll take a quick break now because at least we will get into the conversation with full speed for you right away. But then after this break, we'll bring in our second guest. Then we will get into the conversation with full throttle for you. Stay with us. We'll return after this break. Welcome back, everyone. It is still Issues on Global Television. Now, we will get straight into the conversation as we already have our second guest join us on the program. It's good to have Dr. Okezugu right here with us. He's a legal practitioner, an international lawyer, as a matter of fact. It's good to have you, international relations expert, I beg your pardon. It's good to have you join us on the program this wonderful day.
Thank you very much. Good to have me here.
Yes, we're talking about the Israel-Iran, I don't even know what to call it, whether it's a war or it's a conflict, because it has been there for a very long time, like the other guest, Ona, was talking about it just now. He was trying to give us history, how it started, how Obama tried to make peace, how Biden tried, and now Trump has come and the thing seems to be escalating and all of that. What do you think of this? Is it fight or conflict that I would call it between Israel and Iran? In fact, he said I should make it US, Israel, and Iran.
Well, the politics of the Middle East far transcends what we are seeing now in real times, because even when you go to the scriptures, the Bible, it appears much of what we are seeing now, we are rooted in, those historical facts and all that. But the truth is that there has always been that contest for supremacy. Who directs the shots? Who takes the shot in the Middle East when it has to do with military power, diplomacy, and all of that. In the case of Israel, for instance, Israel appears to be a dot in the ocean because, surrounded by Arab neighbors and all of that. And they have never been the best of friends over the years. There has always been the regular clashes here and there. Beyond the ones we have seen in Gaza, which has become an annual festival. They've had, just like my brother here explained earlier, they've had cause to fight wars here and there. Israel is a country that I think have decided that they have to fight to be alive. And that appears to be what they are doing. If you allow the Arab world, Israel will go into extinction. But Israel has refused to do that. Now, the other power bloc within the area, within the Middle East, that is steaming very properly or improperly, depending on the way you look at it, is Iran. Unfortunately for Iran, Iran is not an Arab nation. It's not an Arab nation. So there is that a little bit of dichotomy between Iran and the rest of the Arab world there. The only binding factor is the religion, Islamic religion, which most of them profess and all of that. Beyond that, the old Persian Empire of the old, that's Iran now, they were even Christians predominantly in the past. It was later years that, especially after the 1979 revolution, that was when Islam became properly entrenched in the area. They have military strength. And because of the antecedents, because over the years, they have been linked, Iran has been linked with sponsorship of so many of these terrorist organizations and extremist Islamic groups. There has always been that policy of containment from Israel and from United States of America, their key ally. The fear has always been that if Iran gets nuclear capability, you can unleash it without looking back, given their thoughts and the way and manner they approach the international diplomacy. Don't forget that they fought Iraq in the past. It was a bloody war that lasted for some time and all of that. And even here in Nigeria, rightly or wrongly, there is always this assumption that they are backing some of the extremist groups we're having here, like Boko Haram and the rest of them. And so many other terrorist groups have been linked to them. So when you have such a picture, it's such a scenario, and then you begin to see, you begin to imagine what could happen if they get lethal weapons, like the nuclear capacity we are talking about, capability we are talking about. Well, as a matter of fact, like I said, the policy of America, at least as an average person can see, is to contain Iran and ensure that they don't export much of the extremism to other nations.
All right. Let me get to Honor now. As it is, under normal circumstance, if there is war in Iran, very far away Middle East, all right, Nigerians should mind their business, do their things, economy flowing and all. That's what the average man, average Nigerian will think. But it's like this fight is having socioeconomic impact, all right, on countries like Nigeria and other African countries. Some will even tell you the whole globe. Why is it like that? Or do you think so?
Yes, ordinarily, you would think that if there's a war between Iran, Israel, and US, as the case is now, nothing should concern Nigeria. The only thing is, maybe we'll just sympathize and find out, are Nigerians there? Have they been placed in any harm? Have they been placed in the way of any harm? But no, this is a global world. We are interrelated. And you know that Iran is one of the major producers of petroleum. And the world basically feeds on PMS, so to say. As this fight begins, in fact, on the 28th of February, when I woke up to hear the news, I started shouting that Nigeria will be affected, if you may like, positively, and on the other coin, adversely. Positively because the price of fuel will go up as it is now. Today, as I speak with you, the barrel goes for over $100. It has never been so for the past 5 years. That is good news to Nigeria. But you also know that in Nigeria, petroleum have been deregulated. And what that means is that the federal government no longer cushion any price increase of petrol. So here we are. Ordinarily, if we were to be a nation that we all hoped for, we should have a strategic reserve where we can run to if we have the kind of emergency that we are having now. We don't have a strategic reserve. In fact, as far as we know, our national company, the NNPC, none of the refineries are working. If not for Dangote, and you know that is a 100% private entity that has come to our rescue, so to say. Right now, we are thinking of $1 trillion economy come 2030. But look at the shock this petroleum crisis has brought in, because major suppliers, major producers of this petrol are at loggerhead. You know that USA is the largest producer of oil. So also Iran is a major player in the petroleum industry. Both of them are the ones at what we are talking about here. I don't have to tell you what we are witnessing right now in Nigeria. Before the war, we were buying fuel at what price? 830. As I speak with you, it's 1,300 and more. Over 50% increase. And that is as of today. We don't know what will happen. I think that Nigeria cannot be insulated from the war because we are fuel dependent. We are an import dependent country. And because we depend on imports, especially when it comes to fuel, petrol, we are trapped. We are trapped because the multiplier effect that goes into the price increase in petroleum products is affecting everybody. All Nigeria needs to get sick is for the petroleum industry in the world to sneeze. Here they are not just sneezing right now, they are coughing. And you can see the effect. Going forward, yes, there's a lot that we think we can learn from this. For instance, if we have a strategic reserve, if Nigeria have a strategic reserve of oil for now, we'll be saying, okay, let loose our reserve so as to cushion the effect of this price increase while we rake in the international price of the sale of oil. But that is not the situation. That is not the situation. So we are like, Nigeria is caught in a trap. Yes, one way the federal government is gaining from this crisis. But what about the ordinary citizens? Are they? No. We are bearing the brunt, and I think it is not good for us. The president, when I say president, I'm talking about it, Donald Trump, gave us a reason recently that the war will end very soon. But I tell you, Ramsey, when the Iraqi-USA war started, President John Bush came out to say that it is done, it is finished, they have finished the war. And it took more than 2 years after he made that statement for the war to come to an end. It is very easy to start a war, but difficult to end it. Look at what is happening in between Ukraine and the USSR. Look at Sudan and their rebels. It is easy to start a war. It is how to put that war to an end. That's always the situation. No country is small as it is these days. It is this same Iran that we have heard that the first few days of the strike, that their naval fleet has been obliterated. But that is not the case. We are hearing that the same naval fleet is sinking other ships elsewhere around the Gulf region. So here we are. Nigeria need to put their acts together. This is a lesson that we must learn in a very hard way.
Oh, all right. All right. As it is.
I can.
Okay.
Let me come in now.
All right.
Yeah. Because given what we all know, the war is supposed to generate so much revenue for us as a nation because of the high cost of petroleum products and all of that internationally. That's what it ought to be. But as I'm talking with you here now, we are not even meeting our quota. And then the production, we are not meeting our production level. So if you are not meeting your production level, you are not likely going to gain so much from whatever is happening there. 2, there is already inflation. The inflationary trend is already up. Just because of this war, even when in real terms, nothing has been affected locally. Transport is up. People selling in the market are beginning to add up to whatever. And you begin to wonder, if this should persist for some time, let's say for the next 2 weeks and all that, what will happen? 3, we're having religious pressure already. Religious pressure because some people, particularly our brothers, our Muslim brothers, some of them are thinking that that war is their war. You understand?
I think I heard there was a protest also.
Yes,
Yes,
there was a protest
in Kano, even in Abuja, there was an attempt.
Yeah. So, but it shouldn't be so. This is a war that should not really concern us in any case. It shouldn't concern us. We're already under that pressure. You understand? And when it gets to that level, government will be in a fix. You crack down, story. You keep quiet, problem. So And then, of course, diplomatically, we are in a fix too. What do? Do you support America and Israel, or do you support Iran? If you support America, you offend our Muslim brothers here, because many of them are of the opinion that the war is theirs, like I said earlier. If you support Iran, you also offend the other group. But basically, from the way Nigeria has conducted themselves within this period, we have always been a non-aligned nation. We have always been a non-aligned nation. We have never really come out to start aligning ourselves with either Soviet Union, Eastern Bloc, or this bloc. We have always maintained some level of neutrality, and that would be the best thing that can happen to us if Nigeria can do that. Beyond that, I think we're having so many distortions in the system already, because stories are being bandied about. Nobody is even sure exactly what is playing out as I'm talking with you. For instance, this morning, the American President Donald Trump made an announcement, addressed the press, and talked about the war ending or having been completed and all that. And within a few hours, the price of oil went down. As I'm talking with you, just about 2 hours ago, it came down to $90. Just because of that announcement. Just that
meaning US is in charge. That's what it means.
Yeah. So
just a statement from the president.
He made that statement just about between 10:30 to 11 o'clock this morning. And in a few hours, it affected the price globally.
Meaning these people are just waiting to make money.
Going to confront whoever was going to stop anybody at the Strait of Hormuz, or whatever they call it. Yes. That he was going to confront them and ensure that there will be full movement. That pledge alone, even when no action has taken place, brought down the price of oil. Okay. So basically, America is calling the shot as far as this matter is concerned. You understand? The only thing going for Iran as it is it does appear, those of us who read strategic studies and all of that, I think we're beginning to learn a little bit of layer management from what is happening in Iran. Iran appears to have built almost 4 layers of authorities that should effectively take charge without instructions. So that means that as they eliminated the president, the Ayatollah himself, Khamenei, as they eliminated him, somebody somewhere will be calling shots without being instructed. Another layer. And when you remove that layer, another layer. If you remove that layer, another layer. And that was what has kept the system running in Iran as it is.
So they are ever ready. They know anything can happen anytime.
Yes. 2, there is the level of commitment from their armed forces, especially the Revolutionary Guard, I think is unprecedented. In normal situations, by now, there would have been
a revolt
within the Revolutionary Guard and the other arms of the security forces. But here we are not. An hour or 2 ago, yes, in one of the provinces, from what I read, the police detachment there have joined the protests against the government just about an hour ago in one of the provinces. You understand? But that's just the police.
And it's just a province.
So nobody is sure whether it's going to go beyond that. But it does appear that the Revolutionary Guard is still very much intact. And for reasons of religion and all of that, the populace, the people themselves appears very much united. A good percentage of the people appear more united behind the government than revolting against the government. And then, of course, you have the other group who are actually happy.
Yes, I wouldn't say that they are united with the government, but the iron fist with which the government helps their population.
Yes, I agree. But the issue again is that for the fact that, like I said, we've not seen any revolt.
All right.
If we're not seeing any revolt, And then from nowhere, you're still, they have conjectured their operations in such a way that they are mobile. Ordinarily, if you fire an artillery machine from here, a corresponding group can pin down can locate the coordinate.
Yes.
Where
it will land.
Where it will land and where the one that came to them came from. Now it has become impossible to pin them down properly because they are firing and they are leaving. So they made provision for that mobility. That is what has created a little bit of problem for the Israel and the rest of them.
So you can't catch them with it.
Well,
they do what they do and move away.
They are catching.
So
them,
no traces.
Is that at least they are still bleeding.
Barrister, let me come in here. We know that the forces against the Iranian military is heavy. When you combine the Israeli forces and the American forces, it's heavy. But yes, I agree with you. I give the Iranian credit for holding forth this.
Up to now,
there was, I think, 2 days ago, a total of over 200 missiles, 200 planes landed on their bunker. And yes, they could not penetrate, or at least they didn't get them. This strike, act as the IDP, that is the Israeli Defense Department are referring to, is an opportunistic strike. They were actually planning for the end of Ramadan. But they saw a window and they used their might, not just Israel. The American and the Israeli powers combined to strike. They struck on the 28th of February, thinking that they will eliminate the hierarchy of leadership of the Iranian. But like you said, there are layers. Yes, they were able to get Ayatollah Khomeini.
So at the moment, as a matter of fact, Iran has deflated so much of their energy. From the intelligence the Americans and the Israelis are having, not much is left of the arsenal in the arsenal. Not much. But that is why, and it could be deceptive. But you see, the quantum of weaponry and the rest of them in the armory of Americans and the Israel is such that in fact, what they want to do, from what I can read, is they want to take them on a journey ride for a very long time. Take them on a journey
to weaken the system.
Yes, yes, because like yesterday in the night, it was like there was no problem and all that. Early part of the morning, Israel went to war. America went to war too, and we've seen sporadic in and out, in and out, in and out. And the moment you keep drawing them in and out like that, and then for a country like that, surrounded by, and look at what happened. Yesterday, the president of Iran apologized to the other Arab nations, neighbors and the rest of them, and they were not going to attack them anymore. That was what he said. Apologize to them.
But what even instigated the attack in the first place to make US and Israel come down?
Because of the military bases.
Americans have bases in Kuwait. They have in Bahrain. They have in Qatar.
Yes.
So since Iran cannot reach America, they are targeting the soft military bases they have around them. Yes, that apology I heard.
Yes. So after the apology now, it was like, okay, UAE decided that flights should resume. Bahrain, the government of the countries decided to reopen their airports and all that. But this morning, they went again. Bahrain, Kuwait, they have attacked more of the countries again today.
And the only
it is actually a panic measure, the way I'm saying it, because UK, for instance, that was not part of the original plan of the war, has gradually entered the war, even if pretentiously they have entered the war, because they have moved their aircraft carriers, the other one to Cyprus and I think another one to somewhere else. And that was why the American president was lamenting yesterday that you are coming when we are already.
Yes, that the UK is joining too late. Therefore, but you know the person of Donald Trump is the person of that nature, very boastful. But like I said, I want to bring us back to the resistance that we are seeing from the Iranian. You know, nobody expected that Iran would stand this long in the fight, especially that they have no ally. We were thinking that countries like China, countries like South Korea will at least say something to aid or support Iran, if not aiding them militarily. But so far we have not heard anything from those superpowers. They have been mute. All they are saying is that, yes, this is illegal, this is not moral, you should stop. But they are not doing anything to lend weight to the perceived support that we think that if US and Israel should, when they attack Iran, countries like China and South Korea will come on board.
Let me just tell you the way it works. If you are expecting Russia to confront America,
Russia is already engaged in a war.
Even if they are not,
Russia is already engaged in a war.
From antecedents, the moment any of the superpowers takes charge, the rest can always say one or two things. They can sell their weapons behind, but they are not ready to confront anybody. They will not come to confront America. If you are expecting China or Soviet Union, Russia to come and confront it, they will never do that. The best they can do is sell arms, which they have done. On the pages of the newspapers, through the media and the rest of them, condemn the attack and all that, and it ends there. The same thing America will do if it is Russia that is in this game. America will never roll out their tanks to confront. You know what it means for two nuclear powers to confront themselves in a war? None of them will do that. There is another thing that played out and which we are seeing in this war. Now, Israel sourced their weapons mostly from US. Iran sourced theirs from Russia and China. In fact, mostly from China this time. But something happened the first day of the attack, and which has made a lot of war experts they begin to get uncomfortable with some of the weapons from some of these countries. How was it possible for 200 jet fighters to leave Tel Aviv, for instance, and found their way for 2 hours and found their way into Tehran, avoided all the radars, and were able to drop those bombs where they did and got all their targets intact without a single alarm from any of the radars? I don't know what someone I mean. Yeah. Virtually, I don't know how they counted it, but
meaning there could be a conspiracy somewhere.
No, I wouldn't say so. But it marks of a failure of these weapons. These machines.
Or maybe it was disabled. Which
by who?
By the opposing forces.
So it is possible that US and Israel had an antidote which they now use to ensure that they were not detected. But it wouldn't have been possible for any of such warplanes to enter Israel undetected. It wouldn't have been possible. You can't do that to US. Not to talk of Israel too. Israel is even more
defensive-minded.
So what I'm saying is that's why I'm saying that this is one of the fallout of the war. The failure of those machines.
You know, Barrister, before the war, let me come in here. Before the war, Donald Trump has been saying that China, Russia are not as powerful as others think they are, and that there is no country that is near the United States when it comes to armament and defensive empowerment. And I think he has proven it. He went to Venezuela single-handedly, captured the president and his wife from their palace, and he has done it again, this time with the aid of Israel, to bomb Tehran with 200 planes without being detected. Without being detected.
Yeah,
so I want to believe that Donald Trump, as a person, wants to create a kind of legacy that USA is a macho country. It's a country that is way above every other country in the world when it comes to defense and warfare.
But let's look at
by and large, I think he's proving it, because for whatever Israel is doing today, forget this war that is in Iran now. For whatever Israel is doing today, is it the bombardment of Gaza? Is it the bombardment of Hezbollah in Lebanon and other places, and the Houthi rebels elsewhere? It is always with the aid of the United Nations. So we have seen that.
United States,
sorry. It has always been with the aid of the United States. So we have seen that. Yes. Somehow, the other countries, yes, they have nuclear powers. They are all, but they are not near the United States when it comes to armament and the ability to defend or attack any other country. Donald Trump has brought a kind of character to America. First, he started with America First. Now it's no longer America First. He's going after enemies outside America that he perceived that should be eliminated. He told Ayatollah Khomeini that his days are numbered, and it has come to pass. And he has told them also that this son, his son that has been appointed as the Ayatollah, that is not with his approval. We wait to see what will become of that new leader.
All right, let's come back to Nigeria once again, because while you were talking, Barrister, you said something very important about how Nigeria is supposed to take advantage of this situation. All right, but I am thinking it's still too early, all right, to say we are not taking advantage of the situation. And one other thing again, okay, don't you think it's too early? Let me not combine the two questions. Don't you think it's too early for us to say we are not taking advantage of the situation, the oil situation? At least we have crude. We should be making money right now.
You see, there's something our brother said. You see, there is strategic positioning that so many countries tries to do. I mean, engaging with that crisis, you know, and that is to ensure that the system is not pulled apart at short notice. You understand? When it happens, you see them cushioning and all that. I mean, you government using such machinery to cushion and all of that. For instance, most of the Arab countries, oil-producing countries surrounding Israel, they have strategic reserves, just like he said. At the moment, they are not feeling the pains.
Are you sure Nigeria don't have?
We don't have. At the moment, they are not feeling the heat yet, because all they could have done or may have done would just be open the reserves. And then it will cushion the effect while other things are taking shape and all that. You see, one of our greatest problems is the NNPC as an organization. As far as I'm concerned, that organization should be scrapped. This is an organization that, an institution that has earned salaries for their workers, allowances, taking jumbo pays here and there, and for the last 10, 15 years, I'm not sure they have been able to produce anything for this country. If it is not because of extraneous interest of those in government and the outside government and the rest of them, I'm sure no government would have been paying workers of that institution. They shouldn't be paid. Because they're not doing anything.
They are redundant.
They're not doing anything. Have they done anything? Have they been able to generate anything?
For more than since 1999, which refinery have functioned?
No. And yet,
how many times, beginning from Obasanjo, we started the turnaround of Port Harcourt, Warri, Kaduna refinery. Till today, none of them have functioned.
None of them have functioned. That is why.
And they are bringing budgets of in billions
Yes.
every year.
Yes.
They are going on overseas trips. They are with their families. Right now, the National Assembly is calling the immediate past MD of NNPC to come and give account. Account of what? I don't know.
So-
Because this is an institution like the barrister said, that Nigeria has been feeding
For doing nothing.
for doing nothing.
Absolutely nothing. That's one problem. The other one is, you see, it's not about any revenue. We can always earn this revenue. After the removal of oil subsidy, so much money came into government, so much money. But we couldn't plug the leakages. Has anybody in this country fared better than before the removal of oil subsidy? The expectation would have been that, okay, now that the subsidy is gone and so much money is coming to government, amenities will be there, infrastructure there, everything will be working fine and all that without suffocating the people. But the way it is, Nigerians are paying more in taxes, rates, levies, and all kind of things at a time that we are supposed to have some leverage because of the removal of oil subsidy. So, what have we done with the oil subsidy thing? The last I read of it, much of that money ended up with the state governors and the rest of them. And I don't know, I can't say what they're doing with it, but all I'm saying is that an ordinary man on the street is not feeling the impact of the removal of oil subsidy because not much is coming to them. That's one. Two, we are likely going to earn so much money now. We will obviously generate some revenue because of these few days of price increase and all of that. But even then, what difference would that make? Is it the 5 days or 1 week revenue we generated as against the one we've generated since 2023, since the government came on board? I mean, what difference have they made? I don't know what I understand what I'm saying. So what I'm trying to say is that we don't plan, and we appear to be more interested in the politics of the whole thing than in the reality of the whole arrangement. The politics is too much. It's not everything is not about politics.
Everything has been politicized, right? That's what you mean?
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. So strategically, we're not planning. We're not planning. There are countries that can tell you that after this whole thing, the government could wake up tomorrow and say, "This is how much money we generated."
Yes, and this is.
But are you sure the government is not going to tell Nigerians?
In fact, that is what I have been waiting for, because since February 28th, when this war started, Ramsey,
Yes.
Ordinarily, the federal government should have come out with a pronouncement. We are aware of the situation. Then, because like Barrister said, everybody is aware that the price has gone up, they are raking into our reserves. What are they going to do to cushion the difficulties being faced by the ordinary man on the street? The federal government have not said anything. We don't know if they are going to say anything. But the suffering is increasing. It's increasing.
So
Now, see, while you said the price, because of the announcement Donald Trump made this morning,
Yeah, it came down.
the price came down. But there is this thing that happens in Nigeria. I could remember this morning, the road was jammed with people who were going to their offices and business places because the price of fare tripled. Places that were like 500 before was 1,000 plus, and all of that 600, 700 was 1,000 plus 1,000 to 1,005, as the case may be. These are Nigerians that are already struggling, that their take homes have never taken them home. So now there is a situation in this country that probably If these people want to return back home now, despite the reduction in the price, don't be surprised that the pump price in Nigeria, okay, will still remain the same, and fuel will still remain the same. Why is it like that?
We are trekking to work at a particular price, pump price. This evening, that pump price have increased.
Oh, even increased?
This evening, it has increased. So, tomorrow, what you see is that people now start rationing. Maybe they stay indoors, trek, and find other means to go about their business. But yes, the hardship continues to increase. Yes, the international price have reduced as of today, but our fuel pump price, the Nigeria price, have not reduced. Instead, it has increased.
Like I was talking about strategic planning and reserves and all that. We are not supposed to be affected by this change.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Until
we have a crude, we have a refinery.
Yes.
After a long time. But how come that within 48 hours of the outbreak of the war, the heat came to Nigeria?
So is there anybody you are suspecting or something? Or
I'm not suspecting anything. It simply means that we don't have a fallback.
We don't have a fallback. There's no strategic reserve.
But we have crude and we have a private refinery.
That's what I'm saying. I'm even, well, you know, I'm not an energy person like that in terms of analyzing energy sector. But I also know that given that Dangote is sourcing his crude locally, I don't know the components he sources.
And they say they should sell to him in naira.
I don't know. I can't be sure of the materials he sources from outside to complement whatever he does inside. But I should also think that his organization would have been in a position to cushion this effect. For some time.
Let me remind you that Dangote, first and foremost, is a businessman. He's out there for profit. He has invested, and the more profit he makes, the happier he becomes.
Yeah, but it's because government is not doing what they ought to do. If they're doing what they ought to do, the fact of his being a businessman should not come in a situation like this, where people will now be suffering.
Barrister, I agree with you. There are social corporate responsibilities. Yeah. But for now, he too is studying the situation. In my mind, that is what I think. Yes, I learned about 3 hours ago that he has reduced his pump price slightly. But would that translate to the average Nigerian having their... Mind you, it's only MRS that Dangote has. We have hundreds, if not other filling stations that sell outside the ones that
we can't continue. I think we need to have this conversation. I think what we would do, I will invite the two of you again. We'll talk about this. Let's see how the situation will develop. Let's see the developing story, what will happen as far as the war is concerned, and how the heat will come on the average Nigerians. Thank you very much, Barrister, for joining us. Thank you very much, Honor, for joining us on the program today.
Thank you.
Everyone, this is the size of the conversation. It is an issue. It is worrisome. It is in fact, the situation is worth talking about. Nigerians are feeling the heat. Before you go back home today, maybe it will be better than when you were coming to the office. This is the size of issues. My name is Ramsey Enoch. We'll see you again. Bye-bye for now.